Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Yes, devotees. Well, thank you all for coming. Nice to be here with you all, very nice indeed. So we are going on to the 7th verse of Siksastakam, second to last. And so, yes, I'll just chant it. Yugaitam Nameshena Chakshasha Pravashaitam Shunyaitam Jagat Saradam Govinda Vira Hena Me. And this is the translation from Chaitanya Charitamrita, a little different from the sort of regular translation that you're probably more familiar with. It goes as follows. Lord Govinda, because of separation from you, I consider even a moment a great millennium. Tears flow from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I see the entire world as void. Actually, we just chant some prayers first, though. Namo Vishnu Krishna Prestaya Utale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Jayane Neri Shesha Shunyavani Nastitani Shitane Vachikam Trudyascha Kripa Sindhu Yayascha Patitanam Padavebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivas Adi Gaura Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yes, of course, it goes a little differently. One moment is like 12 years or more. You remember that version? That at least I'm more familiar with, and I suspect many of you also. But the message is there. Govinda Vira Hena Me. Viraha means separation. Viraha. Virahena means by separation or through separation. Govinda Virahena Me. I'm separated from you, Lord Govinda, Lord Krishna. And as a result, Yugaitam Nameshena. A Namesh. Namesh is a fraction of a second. They're sort of slightly different versions, but an eighth of a second or some other fraction of a second doesn't make that much difference. If it's an eighth or even a half a second, it's just practically nothing. Yes, so, but a second seems yugaitam. It seems like a yuga. Of course, we know that yugas are very long, they're extremely long. This is Kali Yuga, which is the shortest of the yugas, but it's more than 400,000 years long. Sure, that's really long. But Srila Prabhupada, in that translation, which we're perhaps more usually familiar with, he says that, O Govinda, feeling separation from you, a moment feels like 12 years or more. flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain. And Shunyaitam Jagat Sarvam. The whole world seems like, literally like it's zero, full of zero, it's just got nothing. And Prabhupada commenting on this verse, he makes the point that this world, of course this world is not empty. Of course it's not empty. Just look out the windows and gosh, it's a whole city going on. But Krishna, separation from Krishna, has such an overwhelming effect on the devotee, meaning the very, very advanced devotee, not your sort of average devotee. Last night, we mentioned normal devotees, like us. Yeah. So, we're not on that level, but still. Shri Shri Jagannath Puri Shri Shri Thakur Sundar. Yes, so the world is not empty, but when the very advanced devotee is separated from Krishna, then it really seems like the world is empty and it's just useless. It's just like a pathetic kind of stupid thing, and it's got nothing to it, particularly nothing of value. Yes. So now this, of course, is the advanced devotee, or even extremely advanced devotee, really, who feels like this and sees the world to be like that. And so why? How is it that such a devotee, the world just really seems to just be empty of anything of value or interest, anything beneficial or helpful or nice? How could it be? Well, it's because the devotee is so conscious of Krishna, and in a very deep way, who is Krishna? What are his qualities? How does he exhibit those qualities in his pastimes? How does he exhibit his qualities when he interacts with me? And the whole experience of all these things is just so extremely wonderful. You know, we don't really have experience of anything which is that wonderful. But in the absence of Krishna, who is so wonderful, then my life ceases to have anything wonderful in it. It's just, well, it's empty. And it's just some sort of pathetic, useless thing. So, of course, this whole phenomenon being mentioned here of the devotee feeling that life is just a waste of time, there's just nothing in it for me at all. And those types of feelings, it's because that very advanced devotee has had this experience of Krishna. Krishna being just so wonderful that, well, you can't really explain it. Certainly not in just ordinary, everyday terms. But truly, extremely, extremely wonderful. So when you lose him, well, there's just a huge hole in your life, in your heart, in your mind. It's just terrible. It's just a disaster. So this is the idea. Just to give it's just a sort of a hint, you could say. In the 14th chapter of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the first chapter, which Srila Prabhupada did not translate or comment on, there is one verse which describes Krishna as being Gunatma. And in this context, Gunatma means he is like the soul, the essence of all qualities. And in the purport, our BBT commentators, they refer to Srila Sanatana Goswami's commentary on that particular verse and that word, Gunatma, like the soul, the essence of all good qualities. And they make the point that Krishna, of course, Krishna has unlimited qualities anyway. Of course, in Nectar of Devotion, 64 qualities are listed out, and then there's little elaboration on each of the 64. And so therefore we might think, well, Krishna has 64 qualities. But actually, it's not just 64. It's more like, it's something like, there are 64 groups of qualities, categories of qualities. And each group, each category has many, many like subdivisions and subsets in it, to the point that the qualities become innumerable, literally innumerable. So anyway, Srila Sanatana Goswami has made the point in his commentary there that along with having all this fantastic and super fantastic number of wonderful, wonderful qualities, Lord Krishna has one special quality which he only reveals and displays in his interactions with you. But then the next person, like Rupa Nuga, Krishna has a different quality, which he only shows to Rupa Nuga. And then he's got a different quality. And these are just like, such wonderful, amazing qualities. He's got another one which he only reveals to Radha Charan Devi Dasi, and another one to Tulsi, another one to Shreya, and so on and so forth. So, and it's not just the human beings. We have, who knows how many human beings on this planet really, but some say 8 billion, whatever it may be. And then how do you count to 8 billion? But anyway, however many humans we have, but as a group, we are not alone. There are all sorts of other species and types of living entities. And each one of them, each member of each species, is a spirit soul like us, who also has one quality of Krishna that Krishna only reveals to that being, although of course currently that being, if they're like an insect or some, very lowly type of living entity in this world. So that particular quality Krishna has not shown them at this point, and for that matter even us, Krishna has not shown that quality. It's only really when we go back to Godhead, or at least we become situated in our swarup, our eternal constitutional position, then we get to understand and see that quality. So, in other words, why am I saying all of this? I'm just, like I said, it's just a little hint, just to give us sort of the beginnings of an idea of just how incredibly wonderful Krishna is, and how incredibly wonderful it is to interact with him, to the point that when he's just not there, the feeling of loss is just truly extreme. I mean, at least all of us who are adults, and maybe some of the young people also, have lost someone, like parents maybe, or a friend, or a relative, or just someone who was dear, really dear, and we really felt hurt by that loss. But that feeling of loss, of course, the feeling of loss in such a case is based on the positive feelings you had when you had the relationship with the person, but now they're gone, so you're feeling the loss of the relationship, and that can be extremely disturbing. Like when parents pass away, or husband or wife passes away. Oh, it could be just really devastating. But the whole experience in those cases, compared to the feeling of loss when you seem to have lost Krishna, well, it's more. Do you get the idea? Yeah, it's a lot more. In fact, it's very, you can't even really calculate how much more, but it's really a lot more. So anyway, let's see. Yes, a moment, I consider even a moment a great millennium. I'm going to tell you a little story now. I'm sure some of you have heard this story before, because I've definitely told it before. It is a story about the first Janmashtami festival in ISKCON. I don't know, it was 1966 or 67, it was probably one or the other. It was the first. And the devotees had never had that experience of the Janmashtami festival, including staying up to midnight and fasting till midnight. You know, they'd had some festivals and appearance days of whoever, some form of the Lord or some great devotee, where they fasted till noon, and somehow they held on and made it till noon. Maybe they had the experience of, like Gaur-Purnima, you fast till sunset. But somehow they made it through. But now it's fasting till midnight. And Prabhupada came in. Well, one of the devotees who was there told us about this many years ago, actually. And he said that Srila Prabhupada came to the devotees and said, yeah, today is Jagannath Puri, it's Krishna's birthday. We will stay up till midnight and we'll fast till midnight. Okay. And it was just like, yeah, we're going to do this. And all the devotees reacted like, oh, okay, fine. But by the time it got to be like maybe 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, or sort of like this time even, it wasn't so fine. Life was not looking so good, so bright. And then Prabhupada said, maybe 7-ish, or I don't know, I can't remember what he said, 7 or 8, and it was something along those lines. Srila Prabhupada said, all right, we will go down to the temple room, this is 26 2nd Avenue in New York, and I will read Srimad Bhagavatam, the story of Krishna, the 10th canto. So they went down and Srila Prabhupada locked the door from the inside, and everyone was there, put the key in his pocket, sat down and started reciting 10th canto Srimad Bhagavatam. And by this time, it's the evening, time has moved on, and they're really feeling hungry. So the one devotee who was explaining all about this whole event and everything that happened, he then told us that he personally, he was feeling extremely hungry. Extremely hungry. Something like that. And they had, well anyway, from what he said to us, it's like they had the first quartz clock. If you know what I mean. Clocks which go from your side. Tick. The second hand moves, right? Tick. Then tick, it moves again, and tick, it moves again. And, tick, 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 away it goes. He was watching the second hand, and he was completely convinced time has slowed down. Because the second hand was going tick and stopping and not moving for a while. And then after a while, it went tick again, and then again. So time passed, and life was going on. But then after some time, again it went tick. And he was completely convinced time has actually slowed down, or else, it's a conspiracy between time and the clock. They tried to harass us. So it went on like that. He said he was watching the second hand for like 3 or 4 hours. And he felt convinced time has actually slowed down. So anyway, sometimes it happens like that, or seems to happen like that. You may have had experience like on a Friday afternoon at work. Yeah, you got to work. They're not going to let you go early. You got to work till 5 or whatever it is. And it just seems to take forever. But otherwise, when you're doing something very nice, that is just nectar to do, then, well, there's a saying, time flies, isn't it? It's just a well-known saying. And suddenly you find you're doing something really nice, and suddenly you find, time's up, what happened? But as far as we know, well, certainly other people were experiencing time in the regular way. In fact, Srila Prabhupada explains in the Krishna book how the gopis, when they came out for the rasa dance, the first rasa dance, which is the one described in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, actually, after that, they used to have rasa dances every night, but this was the first one. And they were just so much into it and so ecstatic that time seemed to fly. Before they started dancing, it's northern hemisphere. So anyway, they started dancing, and it was already dark. But then suddenly, oh, the sun's rising. What happened? We just started dancing. They didn't just start dancing. They were into it, at least for, several hours or so, however long the night was. But they were just so totally absorbed in ecstasy dancing with Krishna. It just seemed that time literally flew. However, devotees of the Lord, Srila Prabhupada explains that it was not just the usual several hours or so of the night as one normally experiences it. Krishna, just to enhance the whole experience, Krishna extended the time of the night to the length of time of one night of Lord Brahma. Sahasra Yuga Paryantam Aharyat Brahmano Vidu. That's Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, that 1,000 cycles of the 4 yugas, Sahasra Yuga, 1,000 cycles, Aharyat Brahmano Vidu. That's the length of a day of Brahma, but it's also the length of the night. And it is billions of years. It's not just like 1 year or 5 years. It's really an extremely long period of time. And that's how long they were actually dancing with Krishna. But the whole experience was just so amazing. We are not capable of expressing it really adequately, but it seemed just like nothing. It seemed like, oh, what happened to the night? It just started, and now it's finished. What went wrong? But nothing went wrong. So anyway, this is what's being talked about here. So that now back to the first Janmashtami, that devotee was sitting watching the second hand go in, tick, and then sitting there for a while and sort of relaxing and just, taking his time, and then after a while, tick again. Yes. So that's separation. Here we're talking about Govinda, Virahena Me. Our separation from Govinda. That was Prasadam Virahena Me. Feeling separation from Prasadam. Yes, okay. Anyway. So, now this level though, this level of Krishna consciousness, well, this is around the level, it's bhava, prema, it's kind of in between the two, or something along those lines. The verse this morning, just as a matter of interest, would you mind putting your hand up if you were here this morning for the class? Some of you, not so many, not many. Okay. Anyway, that verse, the 6th verse, is more particularly talking about bhava, or really hankering for bhava, meaning the level of bhava, the level of ecstatic love, as Prabhupada translates the term bhava. Ecstatic love for Lord Krishna. And you know, an interesting point is that bhava and prema, the way Srila Rupa Goswami kind of delineates the different stages from Shraddha to prema, from the very beginning of the beginning of Krishna consciousness to the perfection, Krishna prema, pure love for Krishna. So he delineates that in terms of 9 stages. And the last 2 are bhava and prema. Now the thing is, it's an interesting point, actually bhava, ecstatic love for Krishna, is part of prema. But because it's not as dramatic and just, incredibly powerful, it's separated as a different stage, although it's actually part of it. And the example which is given to illustrate that is that it's like when the sun rises in the morning. When the sun rises, I mean, particularly if it's a really, sunny day or there's no clouds around, it's not overcast, but very clear sky, then before the sun appears visibly above the horizon, some light comes. Yeah. So that is the experience of bhava as compared to the experience of when it's like midday, when the sun is just really there. It's different, it's very, very different from when there's just that sort of like a hint, some light beneath the horizon. That's bhava. So now, devotees, I don't want to disappoint anyone, but none of us sitting here are on the level of bhava. Sorry, if you were thinking something like that. And I shouldn't joke about such things, but we are sadhakas. We're in the stage of practice, developing our Krishna consciousness step by step, kind of educational stage, you might say, and just practicing, learning how to be devotees, learning what to do as a devotee, and what not to do as a devotee. But on the level of bhava, and this was described in detail in Nectar of Devotion, chapter 18. which is titled Character of One in Ecstatic Love. And ecstatic love is the translation of the term bhava, specifically. So Rupa Goswami Srila Prabhupada, they list out, there are 9 very specific characteristics of a person who has actually come to the level of bhava, which, like I said, it's like the beginnings of Krishna prema. It's a very advanced stage. It's a really advanced stage. So there are 9 characteristics. I'm going to read them out now and say a few words about each one. We'll see how it goes. But I think you should write it down. Of course, you've probably got a copy of Nectar of Devotion. You could always just look it up there, chapter 18. But these qualities are qualities that we should aspire for. And in our humble ways, we should try to, put into practice, at least to some degree. So, the first one is that the devotee on the level of bhava, just the beginnings of prema, is always anxious to utilize his or her time in devotional service and not be idle. Devotee wants service always. Yes, so that's a very important quality. And we should try and cultivate this in our own humble ways. Because the thing is this, and actually it was Chanakya Pandit who made this point, which Srila Prabhupada spoke about and referred to Chanakya Pandit on numerous occasions, that time is so extremely valuable that if you lose 1 second, you cannot get it back. Even if you have all the money or all the political power or whatever, you cannot get 1 second back if you've lost it, like wasted it. Yeah? So time, how valuable is that? It's just exceedingly valuable. So one of the characteristics of an advanced devotee is they appreciate the value of time. And there was once a conversation between Srila Prabhupada and George Harrison, the famous musician, about time. And they were both saying, yes, time, we must not waste time. And George Harrison mentioned that Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi, and Napoleon, the great military man, French, they did not sleep. Means they didn't really lie down to sleep. Gandhi would sleep sitting up in the train, going from town to town, doing his political programs. And Napoleon would sleep on his horse, just leaning sort of on the neck of the horse while going from one battlefield to the next. This is what they say. And then Prabhupada, so George Harrison mentioned that. And then Prabhupada said, yes, normally every afternoon after lunch I take a little nap. And often when I lie down, Prabhupada said, When I lie down to have my little nap, I think, here I go again, wasting time. And Prabhupada called that little nap, he called it, well, a short nap, a snap. It's a snap. So, not wasting time. Okay. Then second is the devotee, a very advanced devotee, is always very perseverant. Nothing can stop him or her. No obstacle is great enough to stop them. And third is always detached from material attractions. Then the fourth one, the advanced devotee does not long for any respect. Advanced devotee is prideless. Fifth one, the advanced devotee is always certain Krishna will be merciful to me. Then the advanced devotee, number 6, always very eager to serve the Lord very faithfully. 7th, the advanced devotee is very attached to chanting the holy names. Number 8, the advanced devotee is always eager to describe the qualities, pastimes of the Supreme Lord. And then number 9, the advanced devotee on the level of prema is very pleased to live in a place of the Lord's pastimes, in a sacred place. Yeah. So, Prabhupada elaborates on each of these. I'll just quickly go through them. Utilization of time, Prabhupada says, an unalloyed devotee, because we're speaking of such a devotee, really very advanced. An unalloyed devotee is always engaging his words in reciting prayers to the Lord. In the mind, he's always thinking of the Lord. With his body, either he's offering obeisances, bowing down before the devotee, or doing some service. During these ecstatic activities, sometimes he sheds tears. So this is the advanced devotee, utilization of time, and then perseverance. Let's see here. Yeah, here's a very nice example. Prabhupada quotes the translation of Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 19th chapter, verse 15. Says, so this is now Parikshit Maharaj speaking actually. My dear Brahmins, you should always accept me as your surrendered servant. I've come to the bank of the Ganges just to devote my heart and soul to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So please bless me that Mother Ganges may be pleased with me. Let the curse of the Brahman's son come upon me. I don't mind. I only request that at the last moment of my life, all of you please chant the holy names of the Lord. Yeah. This is perseverance. Let the snake come and kill me. I don't mind. Just please keep chanting. Then detachment, let's see, the example is of Maharaj Bharat, famous Maharaj Bharat. So this is now 5th canto, 14th chapter, verse 43. Prabhupada quotes, Emperor Bharat was so attracted by the beauty of the lotus feet of Krishna that even in his youthful life, He gave up all kinds of attachments to family, children, friends, kingdom, etc., as though they were untouchable stools. Their pridelessness. Prabhupada gives two examples. One is a very interesting example of a man named Lal Babu. And elsewhere, Prabhupada says more about Lal Babu. Here he just says a little bit. Lal Babu was a big landowner. What, I think about 100 and something years ago, during Prabhupada's younger years. A very rich man, but a ruthless businessman. Completely ruthless. You get one day late with your rent, you're out. If someone comes along and offers to pay more rent for the apartment you're renting, somehow or other you're out. He was really ruthless. But then he became a devotee. And he became a total renunciant. And he would beg from door to door. He gave all his millions or loads and loads of money away. And he was begging from door to door. And particularly, he would go to the doors of people who he had cheated. And just, abused financially. He would go to them. So Prabhupada tells of one incident. Lal Babu knocks on the door of one of his old enemies who just hates him. That enemy opens the door and there is Lal Babu dressed as a sadhu. And Lal Babu says, "You remember me? I'm Lal Babu. I mistreated you so badly. Well, I just wanted to say I'm really sorry, and I've become a mendicant, and I'd like you to please give a donation." And the man thought, this enemy thought, "What? Me? You want me to give you a donation? This is crazy." But then he thought, okay, I'll give you a donation. Now this man was also a big cheater and rascal and rip-off artist, but not as big as Lal Babu had been. So the man went into his house. In the kitchen he had a wood-burning stove, which was full of ashes from burning the wood. So he got a bucket, filled it up with ashes, came out, and said, "Yes, Lal Babu, here's my donation." And he just poured the bucket load of ashes over Lal Babu's head. And Lal Babu said, "Thank you very much." And Lal Babu said that I know you. I know you have never given anyone anything at all. But today, for the first time, you have given someone something. You gave me the ashes. So next is Ashabandha, great hope. And just very briefly, Prabhupada says, a devotee, advanced devotee may think, because I'm trying my best to follow the routine principles of devotional service, I am sure that I'll go back to Godhead, back to home. Now, of course, we should be careful not to become like overconfident or self-confident because I'm such a serious devotee, I'll go back to Godhead. Don't do that. It should be more like, despite everything about me, Krishna is so merciful that even I may be able to go back to Godhead. by Prabhupada's mercy. Then, next is eagerness. Samutkanta. Eagerness. And Prabhupada quotes Bhuvananda Thakur, I'm eagerly waiting to see that boy of Vrindavan, whose bodily beauty is captivating the whole universe, whose eyes are always bounded by black eyebrows and expanded like lotus petals, and so on like that. I want so much to see him at Vrindavan. And then attachment to chanting the holy name. Shri Jagannath Puri, what to do? Yeah, let me just finish this. It's just a very brief one. Krishna Karnamrita is quoted. Oh, sorry, no. Oh, yes, it is. Krishna Karnamrita. Talking about the chanting, about Radharani's chanting. One of Radharani's associates says to Krishna, one of the other gopis, O Lord Govinda, the girl who is the daughter of King Vrishabhanu is now shedding tears, and she is anxiously chanting your holy name, Krishna, Krishna. Then there's eagerness to describe the Lord's qualities. Anyway, that's there. Oops. And then the last one, yes. To be eager to stay in a place where the Lord has his pastimes. Yes, like to go to Vrindavan, at least to visit Vrindavan, Mayapur, these super transcendental places. We should want to go there at least as pilgrims. You know, you may have heard me say before that one time one devotee approached Srila Prabhupada because Prabhupada had been saying that I want all our devotees to go to the Mayapur Vrindavan festival every year. So that devotee went to Prabhupada and said, you know, if all of our devotees go every year to the Mayapur Vrindavan festival, like Gaur-Purnima festival, it's going to cost so much money. And just think, if not everyone went, we could get that money, Srila Prabhupada, and use it for book publication, for spreading Krishna consciousness. Wouldn't that be good? And Prabhupada said, yes, that is a very good idea. Yes, we will not go to Mayapur Vrindavan, every time. We'll save the money and use it for preaching. Very good idea. Then Prabhupada said, actually, I also have a good idea. How we can save money. We can save money if we all stop eating. We will save lots of money. Stop eating. Not just for a day or something, but stop eating. So yes, I think we should do that to save money and use it for book publication. Now obviously if you don't eat, you'll die. So in other words, Prabhupada is saying that to go on these pilgrimages, at least sometimes, it's life-giving, transcendently life-giving. It's extremely valuable. It's vital. It's actually vital for our lives in Krishna consciousness. So anyway, in keeping with the mood of that verse number 7 of Siksastakam, I suggest to all of you nice devotees, please, from time to time, have a look at this list and just think about it and see what you can do to progress in these different qualities and activities and so on like that. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada Ki